frontline member of the Bring Back Our Girls campaign movement. She is one of the very few to have challenged this administration severally. She once called President Muhammadu Buhari a hypocrite. She went further to call him an utter hypocrite with absolute zero character and integrity. Aisha, if you were to see President Buhari today, would you stand by that comment?
Absolutely, I'll stand by my words. It depends on what he has done, what he has said he would do. He has never done them. A lot of things that he said he would, he hasn't. And I'll look him in the face. It's my president. Like a lot of people will say that, why would you say that to somebody who is old enough to be your grandfather? He's not my grandfather. He didn't come and ask for my mandate as my grandfather. He asked for my mandate as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I'll look him in the eye and say that he hasn't done what he should do, and he needs to stand up and do it. He hasn't shown the integrity we were told he had. Integrity is not about saying you have it, it's about actually acting it.
Are you upset at the present administration led by Muhammadu Buhari because you were appointed like Hadiza at MP was? Hadiza Bala.
Well, for me, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a trader. I've never worked for anyone. Since I finished school, I've always done business. I've been trading since 2000. And I am my own boss. I do OPT. I buy other people's time so that I will have time and to be jobless, the way some people say it. And so, who wants an appointment? If I want an appointment, I'll be the one giving appointments, not the one seeking for appointment. I love to have my time, travel, do my own thing. So it's not about appointment. And so for me, I find it very ridiculous. This sense of what do I call? Is this a sort of entitlement mentality that people feel like if you speak out, you're looking for an appointment? For crying out, all the people that haven't spoken out, they haven't gotten their appointment. Aisha Yesufu that is telling the man to do his job is going to give an appointment. So I'm not interested in appointment. I employ people. I don't want to be an employee.
You were once a supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari, and you've not just called for his impeachment or resignation at different times. You did ask him to go back to Daura. Why?
Because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. When you say support, yes, I did. And I said it categorically, even today. If today was March 28, 2015, I would still vote for President Muhammadu Buhari. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was an utter disappointment. He was clueless, he didn't know what he was doing. And right now he needed to go. And we got a precedent. The changes of that time was for citizens to sit up and make demands. And we failed to do that after voting. And so right now, the same president, President Muhammadu Buhari, is fading. He is clueless. Things are happening in his administration that he doesn't seem to have a clue about. Let's take, for example, just the other day, EFCC went to make an arrest. DSS stopped them. Who does that? That is even worse than being clueless. It's as if we don't have anybody at the center and everything is falling apart. So right now, he too needs to go. And we need, and for me, as far as I'm concerned, personally, we have to keep changing every leader that comes in that is incompetent, that is clueless, that is not doing the right thing, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria will be the winner. Nigeria will be able to get the right person that Nigeria needs. And when we change them, do you know what message it sends to the parties? It's to tell them that fill people who are competent, who have character, who can do the job, rather than filling people that can control.
When you asked for the resignation of President Buhari, you were attacked online. You were threatened at some point. I want to have a sense of, were you scared? Were you really, really scared?
You know something? I think at the age of 10, I realized something. That the worst thing any human being can do to me is to kill me. And at that age of 10, I realized that I was going to die anyway. So it's not really the worst thing. So what kind of threat is it that people are going to do? I am 43. December 12th, I'll be 44. I lived in the ghetto. I went to school in the morning without breakfast. I would come back home not expecting lunch. I cried for books to read for my SSC. It was hard, it was difficult. I survived the ghetto. What kind of threat is anybody going to give me? A lot of my friends didn't survive. By age 11, all my friends were married. When I got married at the age of 24, my friends were grandmothers. And so I left a lot of my friends out there. There are so many people who are crying. I had to work on my financial independence, because in this country, when you're poor, you're nameless, you're faceless, you're voiceless. That's what Nigeria does to you when you're poor. And I realized I didn't want to be poor because I had seen poverty as a young child. And I looked at it. When I turned 40, I realized one thing. There were so many children out there who are in the condition that I was once in. And I hated my country as a teenager. And I realized that, okay, I'm the one failing them right now by not saying anything. So I'll continuously speak out. Whatever happens, the day I will die is the day I will die. It's already been set by God, and nobody's going to change that. And so no amount of threats. I've gotten that online. People will say they will kill you, they will do this, they will do that. I don't care. The truth has to be said. Whether I die today or I don't die today, the truth will always stand for what it is, the truth.
I believe when you supported the regime change and voted for President Muhammadu Buhari, part of it was to stop Boko Haram. From the presidency to the Nigerian military chief, Buratai, the claim is that Boko Haram has been degraded. Do you agree?
No, I don't. Because in the last week alone, we've had how many deaths? When you talk about degrading, the Nigerian life must matter. Yes, there have been inroads. And I keep saying this all the time. The first sources that we started recording towards the defeat of Boko Haram started in February 2015. And that says a lot. What happened in February 2015? That was when the elections were postponed by 6 weeks. And the military started winning the war. The military started getting back territories. The military started getting back captives that were with Boko Haram. And so, all this while before then, what was happening? And so right now as we are, no, they are not degraded. And we shouldn't live in a state, in a false sense, or have a false sense of security. I've always said this. The government should come out and tell the people as it is, rather than going on with the propaganda. Because the more we have propaganda, the more that the terrorists will be winning. We said in this country that never again, but it seems as if the never again that we said, that we'll never get back to the dark days. We didn't win it as a nation, the military, and every other person, even the citizens. Because right now we have what happened in those days happening again. Soldiers are writing to the President Muhammadu Buhari, to tell him of the atrocities being meted on them, where they are at the front line. How, for crying out loud, what kind of a country owes its men and women that are at the front line and risking their lives every day?
Aisha, the presidency will disagree with you. And as a matter of fact, there was a polling done by NOI polls, and it actually it shows that 50% of Nigerians do agree that Boko Haram has been degraded. What do you know that they do not know?
Well, you know what I like to tell people is that today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. For anyone, those that have died recently, even yesterday, they are not saying that the war has been won. For those 50% of Nigerians, if they are amongst the dead, or their loved ones are amongst the dead, they won't be saying what they're saying right now. Every life must matter. We are losing people. They went to the mosque. How many people died in the mosque? And we're talking about it. The war has been won, and there is soft target. What do we mean by soft target? We're still having suicide attacks. We're still having, when you go to the northeast and you travel to Borno, apart from the state capital, you can't move freely on the other roads. Lassa women were abducted on their way to go and bury a policewoman. Amongst them, police women there, there are lecturers, there are students, final year student, UNIMED, there's a youth corps. They were Boko Haram. They were abducted while the government said that they had won the war. UNIMED lecturers that were sent to go and prospect for oil in the lecture basin, they are abducted, they are still in captivity. So what are we talking about? You know, people will say all sorts of things because it doesn't affect them until we realize that terrorists attack to anyone, anywhere in the world. These terrorists attack to everyone, everywhere in the world. We'll keep saying all those things.
But Buhari has rescued some of the Chibok girls.
Absolutely.
Don't you at least give him some credit of some sort?
Yeah, I do. He has 106 of our Chibok girls are back. But we still have 113 in captivity. We have Lassa women in captivity. We have UNIMED lecturers in captivity. We have a whole lot of Nigerians that we don't even know the numbers in captivity. the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties. And the president is the head of the Nigerian government. So when he rescues the Chibok girls, he's not doing them a favor. It is not a privilege for the Chibok girls to be rescued. It is their right as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They ought not to have been taken in the first place. Nigeria failed them by not protecting them. The next best thing was to have rescued them immediately. We didn't do that. It took over 2 years before they were rescued. So in as much as, yeah, I appreciate the president, but he's just doing his job. That's what he asked for. 2014, 2015, the president was shouting Chibok girls, Chibok girls, Chibok girls during elections. So if Chibok girls were good enough for elections, Chibok girls are good enough for rescue. And he said something during his inaugural speech, that the war against Boko Haram will not be said to have been won without the rescue of Chibok girls and all other abductees. So we can't say that we've won the war. 113 of our Chibok girls are still in captivity and there are other abductees.
I mean, I have interviewed the Buniyadi parents several. Some of them feel like the agitation by the BBOQ group is one-sided, like their sons don't matter. Do they matter?
Buniyadi.
Why?
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. At the first anniversary of their death, BBOG marked it. And that was the only time the government finally met with them. The second year we did. We've been marking it ever since. We've met with the parents, they've come to Unity Fountain, they've sat down with us. We have brought out the pictures. We let the government know that indeed our sons were killed, they were slaughtered. There's a little girl who, her brother was slaughtered in front of her. She has his picture on her phone. Every day she watches, she looks at him and she feels sad. And you know, so we came out. A lot of people come out to say that you're only advocating for Chibok girls. No, we aren't. We have put all other issues on front. When Party School were killed, we did a march to Ministry of Education. And we said that we have endangered education in this country. The schools need to be protected. Students need to be protected. And so we have fought, not just for Buniyadi boys, Party School boys, Gumsuri girls, a whole lot of other ones that we've continuously asked for. At the Bring Back Our Girls movement, we have a slogan that says, the fight for Chibok girls is a fight for the soul of Nigeria and the world. And we'll continue to fight for that. Because we will not allow terrorists to take away our humanity and turn it into something else.
If President Buhari was to be running for elections today, would you vote for him?
Absolutely not. And if he knows what's good for him, he shouldn't run for election. It's enough. He should take whatever that remains of the integrity, so-called integrity that he has, and go home with it. Because right now he has failed. He has shown that he doesn't have the capacity. I have tweeted before and I repeat it again. Being a president is much more than walking upright and wearing starched white agbada. It's a whole lot of work. It's about having empathy for the people. It's about caring. It's about not being cold. It's about knowing that what the president has gotten, he needs to replicate it for every one of us, for the 170 or is it 180 million Nigerians that we are. The president was sick. He went to the UK. He spent months in the UK and he got healed. He came back. What has he done as a president to ensure that every other Nigerian, if we ever have the same kind of illness that he had, will be taken care of? A leader who thinks only of himself is a selfish leader and shouldn't be thinking about running for elections again.
A few days ago, 26 Nigerian girls were found dead and buried by the Italian government. What do you think about the reaction from the Nigerian government?
Shameful, despicable. In short, the words I have, you can't hear them on air because we are talking about 26 of our young girls, died there. And the government, instead of going there to go and find out what happened to their citizens, if it was during the election now, their talk to matter. No want all those ones. But they died there. They didn't even bother to go there. They were asking the Italian authority whether they had informed the Nigerian embassy and all of that. The saddest part is the fact that they were buried with dignity. But while they were alive, we didn't show them that dignity here in Nigeria. And it says so much about us today, not just Nigerians, but the whole of Africa, that our citizens are running away to go into almost like a life of slavery We hear Africans being auctioned in Libya. Hundreds of years ago, people came here to come and take citizens away as to be sold as slaves, and now they're doing it. And we have right now, the Nigerian government was sort of like blaming the Italian government that the time they gave them for the burial, they changed it. And well, after the first of all, Abike Dabri was first of all asking whether they had informed the Nigerian embassy, for crying out loud. A government, only in Nigeria would government send delegation to go and watch boxing match of a child they didn't know how the child was brought up. They went to watch Anthony Joshua's boxing match. But when 26 of its own citizens died, they couldn't go and find out what happened. It just says everything, that this government has no value for any Nigerian life. And until and unless the Nigerian life matters to this government, we will continue to see the kind of impunity that we've been seeing from this government. And it is time for us as Nigerians to say, enough, we can't take that anymore.
What is the condition of the rescued Chibok girls?
Well, they are in school. That's what we've heard. Some of them have gone to school. But there's a girl, one of the Chibok girls, that is sick. And as a citizen of this country, I'm deeply, deeply troubled. I'm deeply ashamed. I'm deeply saddened that this girl has kidney problems. And instead of the Nigerian government to take up her case and look after her, they're trading blame. They are throwing, everyone is throwing the responsibility back and forth with the school that the girl is supposed to be. And the girl said something which for every sane Nigerian, we should take a moment to think about that. Because it's not just about the girl, it's about thinking. As a Nigerian, if I ever find myself in this condition, is this the way the government will treat me? The girl said if she had known that this is what she would get with this her sickness, she wouldn't have come back. She would have stayed with the terrorists because they would have taken better care of her. Imagine we live in a country, we have a government for which a girl that has gone through so much hell in the hands of terrorists is not saying that it would have been better off she stayed with terrorists. So that says a lot about the welfare of our girls, and that the government is not ready to take responsibility. And we must understand that governance is about give and take, supply and demand. Until citizens begin to demand for good governance, the government officials will continue to dish out what comes easy to them, and bad governance comes easier to them than good governance. So we need to sit up and make demands as citizens. It is not just enough to vote. The change that we're asking for in 2015 was never change of initials from PDP to APC or GEJ to PMB. It was change of citizens no longer being docile, but making demands and asking for accountability, transparency, and good governance. And we must do that.
Talking about votes, 2019 is almost here. Who is your favorite candidate?
I don't have any yet. I'm going to see. And then I will have mine. Even in 2014, I didn't have any, to when it became obvious that the former president had to go. So when we get there, I'll have my candidate.
Are you saying anything but Buhari?
Absolutely. The only reason why Buhari can ever get my vote is if his GEJ comes back to contest, and two of them. Because that one, I don't have votes for that one. But other than that, President Muhammadu Buhari needs to go back to the order and be the grandfather that people want him to be.
Aisha Yesufu, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
That's the firebrand Aisha, and we are pleased that, she had to let it all out. Thank you for joining us again. We hope you join us again same time.